Our welcome in Rick Bozich, Hall of Fame writer from WDBrate.com. How have you been, sir?
Derby week, doing good. A lot of stuff going on. Big race on Saturday. First time since 2019. The Derby should be back to being the Derby.
Yeah, I heard they got some kind of horse race down there going off. I'm just kidding. Um, Normally, it's a gigantic week in Louisville. The weather's kind of keeping things down a little bit, though. But what's things been like on the backside, which is where everyone gets to go? The media is on the backside of the track where the barns are, and the mornings. It's over. Everything's over by what 8 o'clock, 8:30.
Yeah, oh, the Derby horses work between 7:30 and 8. So really for them, if you want to see the Derby horses go out to the track, you've got to be there early. And then training usually shuts down 9 or 9:30 for everybody else. And most trainers try and get out of there by 10. They go home and take a nap. And then if they have horses racing later on in the day, there's horse racing today at Churchill Downs. They come back for the races and do it all again tomorrow. Toughest job in sports, in my opinion, being a horse trainer. There's no days off.
That's true. There are not only there are no days off, but in no other sport is the principal part of the sport more delicate
Right.
than a thoroughbred horse. And the care, I mean, gee whiz. I mean, like, oh, they got a fever. Oh, he's got a toe. It's the smallest of issues that can keep them out of the most major of events. It's crazy.
Yeah, you're right. And it's that way the whole year. Most horse trainers will map out a plan at the beginning of the year of these are the prep races we want to go to. This is how much time we want between races. And usually, if the schedule gets thrown off much, a lot of the more conservative or old school trainers will say, hey, that's it. We're not going to the Derby. My horse isn't ready to do it. So it's a tough thing. I mean, there are countless stories of horses that have gotten here Derby week and considered to be top contenders, and then they'll be a little lame or a little sore or whatever, and they'll say, no, we're not running.
I'm not there, so I don't know, but this is going to be a Derby without Bob Baffert. I don't know if the last time that has happened, but I would have thought that, or think that a lot of people would have thought that would have been a big deal, and leading up to it, it probably was, but now that it's here, am I right to guess it's probably happened without much notice or fanfare now that it's in the throes of Derby week?
No, there's been quite a bit said and written about it early on. I think after the initial wave of stories about Baffert not being here and people going to his barn and taking pictures where it's now empty, and he was in barn 33, and on the outside of the barn he had plaques, or they had plaques up of all of his Derby winners, and those have all been removed and painted over. And that was sort of a story early in the week. It's kind of receded a little bit now. And then everybody went on Monday and talked to the guy who's training the horses that were originally in Bob's barn, that we had to give up if these horses wanted to run in the Derby. And I think it'll resurface again on Saturday. NBC, I'm sure, will have some kind of Bob Baffert story in the telecast. You can't really, cover the Derby without it, considering he's won 6 and would have won 7, which was the record if last year's victory hadn't been taken down, and B, the fact that he's suspended not only from the race, but he's in the middle of a 2-year suspension from Churchill Downs.
That's crazy. What's it going to be like for him to come back there?
Great question. You don't know whether he'll say, you know what, I'm done with you people. I'm not going to come back anymore, or whether he'll come back and say, I'll show you. I'm going to come back and win the Derby a couple of more times. I don't know. He really hasn't done many interviews because the case is in there's lawsuits going both ways. Plus the case of Medina Spirit, last year's winner, is still going through the process of, although the Kentucky Racing Commission has decided he comes down as the Derby winner, Now I think it goes into the court system, and eventually it'll be 3 or 4 years before we know who actually won last year's Derby.
That's an amazing thing. It sucked the way it happened, but oh well. It gives us something to talk about.